GearNetwork.com.
Hi.
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 What's up?
Welcome to Get Ready America, everybody. We're back after a week off. Impromptu week off, but it was a needed week off. A lot going on in the old personal front here, which what are you doing?
I'm adjusting my screen.
Oh, all right. Your pop filter? That's what it's called. It's a pop filter.
Shut up.
Yes.
It's a soda filter.
Ooh, is it soda? Is it pop? Is it soda pop? I don't know. I got nothing. So, yes, this is the post-Super Bowl edition. We figure everybody else got all their Super Bowl stuff out of the way, and just as you're all forgetting about it, we gotta go ahead and hammer some stuff out from the Super Bowl here on this edition of Get Ready America, among other things. But hello, everybody. Let's go ahead. Let's get into the pre-show specifics here. Our podcast is sponsored by our Amazon page, Dawn.
Indeed.
Visit GearNetwork.com/Amazon. Click on the banners. You can access Amazon. We've been through this before, this whole spiel before. Thank you for making January a success, another success. We appreciate everything that you guys do for us.
One step closer to my armrest.
One step closer to Dawn's armrest. And, you know, it's funny. And it's really cool. You know, you talk about the Amazon. We talk about, you know, support the free podcast. Support, you know, that is a very easy way to do it. And honestly, you guys helping us out when you are shopping. We see the hits to the Amazon page from Gear Network. We see the stats ourselves. So I thank you.
I thank you.
Dawn thanks you. And it just goes to show that something like this is not just a one person or a one company operation. This is really, it's a partnership between us and the listeners. You know, the listeners are certainly helping us out. And we're helping them out by killing off some of their time when they could be having a crappy stretch of a week and a half like I had after having a bombshell dropped on me in the old 9 to 5.
Wah.
Yeah, wah. You know what? This is going to go against everything that I'm preaching about, and this will be the only one, God willing, that I will drop today. But you, you know who I'm talking about. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Ready to cue the music?
Let's cue the music.
Cue the music. This is a Gear Network production.
I don't care who you're rooting for. Well, I guess if you're rooting for the Patriots, this was exciting. But anybody else with 20 seconds left in the Super Bowl, Seahawks coach Pete Carroll called for a pass play from the 1-yard line instead of a run. It was intercepted. And they got this Marshawn Lynch, who all he does, he scored the most touchdowns in the NFL, 214. Why didn't give that ball to him? You know, that's what I would have done. Yeah. I'm no coach. Listen, okay, don't get me wrong.
No. Yeah.
I'm not a professional football coach.
No.
You got a guy who scored 214 regular season touchdowns. I say, hey, what about that guy?
Yeah, what about that? What about that?
We got a half a yard to go to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Did I see him on the bus? Is he here?
You're here.
Well, it didn't work out that way. So now Pete Carroll, and you know, good for him, but he's got some excuses. And I hate it when somebody will throw somebody under the bus. Now, that's figurative. That doesn't really happen. Well, maybe it's happened occasionally.
Okay, well.
Pete Carroll excuses. Here we go. Ready, Bo?
Yeah.
Number 10.
Ready.
Oh, see, right here, number 10. Forgot Marshawn Lynch was on the team.
Yes, there you go.
Forgot about it.
That's what you were saying.
Scored the first touchdown, but forgot about it. Number 9, pass on second down. I was joking. Hey, I was joking. Number 8, had that damn avocado jingle stuck in my head. I don't know what that is.
Avocados from Mexico.
Number 7, didn't want to upset Gisele Bündchen. Number 6, too much pregame weed. Too much pregame weed, ladies and gentlemen. You can buy that weed in Washington. Number 5, just wanted to see Bill Belichick's dazzling smile. Number 4, wind shear. Number 3, Patriots cheated by having a better coach. Number 2, we'll get him next week. And the number 1 Pete Carroll excuse, wanted to remember what it felt like to coach the Jets. There you go, everybody.
Coming to you live from the Gear Network studios in Rochester, New York, and broadcast worldwide on GearNetwork.com. This is Get Ready America.
Oh, David Letterman, the world of comedy and television is going to miss you when you retire this year. However,
what?
However, Stephen Colbert is slated to take his spot. So,
That's not bad, but I am a big Letterman fan, so...
yeah, it'll be sad to see him go.
Like, Leno, I'm sorry, I'm not a big Leno fan, but I've always
I ain't never fan of Jay Leno.
But I like Colbert, too, so I'm good with that.
Yes. All right, welcome everyone to Get Ready America. This is the 15th episode. That's right, we are 5 away from 20 and 7 away from tying the Talking Wrestling with JC Money record. Woo! From coast to coast, continent to continent, and border to border, from China to Canada to the United States, or wherever you may be listening.
China's listening.
That's not true. This is GearNetwork.com. This is Get Ready America. Hello, everyone. I am John Cimino, the JC to JCDC. Joining me here, as always, my better half, the DC, the executive producer of this fine podcast, Mrs. Dawn Cimino. Say hello, Dawn.
Hello.
All right, and as we alluded to in the pre-show, in the Letterman piece, we are going to get right into it, Dawn. Super Bowl 49. Marcus's New England Patriots versus Marcus's Seattle Seahawks. My stepson, your son, has decided he's a fan of both teams this year. And, they played, and, of course, we all know the game, leading up to the game, there was the whole controversy, because there really was nothing to talk about as far as the storylines headed into the Super Bowl is concerned. There was nothing to talk about, so deflated footballs, that seemed to be the cool thing. Of course, go on.
I mean, the cool thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like, hey, we have nothing to talk about. Let's talk about these deflated footballs.
Well, okay, talk about it, talk about it, make fun of it or whatever the first 2 or 3 days, but to go on 2 weeks about it, I thought it was kind of ridiculous.
Right, but, I mean, it's kind of shit that they got to cheat and they got away with it and they have they don't have to do any kind of penalty for it at all. And you know what? I'm sorry, better live than dead, but you can talk about all you want about how it's 2 sheets of paper and who knows the difference, but any quarterback in the NFL that's talked about it says you would know the difference.
You would.
So don't act like it was just some, why are we talking about this for 2 weeks? We're talking about it for 2 weeks because they cheated.
All right, that's now 2 swears from you, Dawn.
No, it's just 1 swear. You did a swear.
You dropped the S-bomb about a minute and a half ago.
Oh,
yeah.
That one doesn't count.
So
thanks for calling me out. I'm sorry I swore. Everybody forgive me.
All right. But anyways, the big talk about the Super Bowl was the end of the game. Now, the game itself was actually a pretty decent game to watch. I enjoyed watching the game. I enjoyed the game. I didn't so much enjoy the State Farm commercial. I don't know if the Nationwide commercial. Right. Did you see that one?
I saw it. I mean, it wasn't the greatest commercial, but, everybody's making a big deal. Like, oh my God, it ruined the whole mood of the Super Bowl. Like, come on, as soon as it
didn't ruin the whole mood of the Super Bowl, but it was kind of like, damn.
Yeah, it was a little weird, but it really led to some great Twitter posts. So,
yes,
you got to look at the positives.
Yes.
There were some really funny Twitter posts.
The Twitter posts were funny, and the Twitter bots is always a great source of entertainment when it comes to things like that. But the main story of the game was not so much what was going on headed into the game, was not so much the play of Tom Brady, who ultimately won the MVP of the game, which I think he won the MVP just because he's Tom Brady, just because of his name alone. I think that Julian Edelman or Shane Vereen, if anybody, should have been the MVP, or because of the end of the game, the last play of the game, Pete Carroll should have been the MVP because of that boneheaded play. And let's go to that. We all know by now, Seattle needed a touchdown to win. They were 26 seconds away from the game being over. They needed a touchdown to win. They were on the 1-yard line. They had Marshawn Lynch, who, as David Letterman earlier alluded to, is the leader in rushing touchdowns, not only this season, but as of right now as an active player in the NFL. He scores the most. He's almost impossible to bring down. So you're on the 1-yard line. You have 26 seconds left to go. You know you have the best defense in the league. Mm-hmm. Regardless of whether or not it's Tom Brady, you have the best defense in the league. You have a good offense, and you have the best rushing touchdown player in the NFL on your team on the 1-yard line with 26 seconds left to go in the biggest game of the season of some of their careers. How do you not run the ball?
Right. How is that decision even made? How did somebody think to themselves, let me throw this ball, let's do a pass, instead of just passing it off to Marshawn Lynch? Why would you not do that? I can't even imagine what would go through somebody's head to make that decision.
Exactly. The setting was, and I'll set this for those of you who for some reason lived under a rock and did not watch, it was a shotgun formation. Marshawn Lynch was lined up to the left. Mm-hmm. Basically, what could have easily happened was they could have done a simple I formation, had the fullback block, Marshawn Lynch could have walked in. Or, if you wanted to play a little trickery, go ahead, you do a halfback draw. Have them come in after the quarterback, like it's a pass, all of a sudden hand off to Marshawn Lynch, he walks in. Or, a play action end around, and Russell Wilson walks in for the... I mean, that's been their bread and butter for the past 2 seasons that Russell Wilson has been at the helm. Instead, they try to drop back and throw a quick screen pass to the inside slot receiver, and it was picked off by a Patriots defender. I don't remember the kid's name, honestly, but he's maybe it was something Walker, I think. I'm not sure. But he was a rookie, and biggest catch of his life. He makes the play. Then a brawl ensues. Mind you, this is how boneheaded it got, because after that, he was tackled at the exact same spot. So, when Tom Brady was going to take the snap, he was going to be in the end zone.
Right.
So throw a blitz on him or whatever, or mm-hmm. I think they were even debating, because they called a timeout, whether to take a knee, take the safety, punt the ball, and then have the defense do the work. Instead, what ends up happening is an encroachment by the defense. Then, following that is a brawl that ensues, right. Started by the defense. So now, instead of being on the half-yard line with the potential to get a safety, get the free kick, and drive back down with 20 seconds left, you've now encroached for a 5-yard penalty, and then caused a plethora of unnecessary roughness penalties, which resulted in an additional 10 or 15 yards on top of that, and it was just a quick, simple knee for Tom Brady to take. There you go. 4th Super Bowl in 14 years for the New England Patriots. Again, very boneheaded play, and how do you get over this if you're Pete Carroll? I know you're a professional, and you're a coach, and there's, more games but when it's all said and done, grand scheme of things, when Marshawn Lynch retires, when Russell Wilson retires, when Pete Carroll's in the old folks' home in a few years, is this the one that they're going to look back and be like, damn, we should have had that one?
Maybe.
Wonderful. Good talk. Okay. Well,
this is your thing.
This is my
sports thing. I mean, I'm just here to,
This is my thing. All right. Well, when we will take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll talk some more nonsense. I don't really have a particular story, although I do want to vent a little bit.
Oh my God, John always has stories.
No, that's the other show. I do want to vent a little bit. I saw some bothersome things, and if this isn't your news, then I won't vent on it, about the most recent... Yeah, that's something I kind of want to touch up on a little bit, because it's bothersome, and everybody really needs to be aware of of what type of crap is just going on. So we'll touch up a little bit on that and more when we come back.
You're listening to Get Ready America on the Gear Radio Network.
FanDuel, 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 FanDuel. GearNetwork.com/FanDuel, FanDuel, FanDuel.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I am Ryan Wolf.
it's Mr. Perez.
And I have a question for you, Perez.
What's your question?
Do you like to listen to people talk about sports?
No. Of course I like sports and listening to people talk about sports.
Well, guess what? I have the perfect solution for you.
Solution for me?
There's a podcast
Okay.
on this very network.
This network?
Every single week you can hear it.
Really?
New content, latest and breaking news. We talk about baseball, football, hockey, basketball, soccer, UFC, whatever you want to talk about.
So sports in general.
They talk about sports in general. You got
Okay.
it.
I like
you
it.
know the dictionary.
I like
I'm
it.
Very proud of you.
Thank you.
I must say, tune in. We are better live than dead.
You're not.
Every single week. You're not going to want to miss it. Exclusively here on the Gear Radio Network.
From the Gear Network studios, once again, here's John and Dawn.
Welcome back to Get Ready America, everybody. And all right, I probably should have thought about this before. Like thought about it in great detail, or at the very least asked you what you knew, Dawn, about this. I mentioned going into the commercial break that I was going to touch up a little bit on what is happening overseas with a certain radical terrorist group whose name I've edited out. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what I was gonna do when I initially saw the latest video, sensationalized video of an outright murder.
Right.
And I wasn't aware that you hadn't seen the video. So over the commercial break, Dawn viewed the video, and the look on her face pretty much says that this is something that we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on. But if you are not aware of what the situation is and what's going on, and some of the legitimate problems that not only this country faces, but others are now facing. There was a British hostage, Japanese hostage, now a Jordanian. This is a serious thing, and everybody needs to be very aware of this. I'm not a big advocate of Fox News, but I do visit Fox News' website regularly along with all the others to kind of get my world news during the day to pass the time. Fox News posted the video.
It honestly is maybe one of the most graphic and horrific things that I have seen. I mean, I can't imagine the family having to watch something like this.
I can tell you this. I've been following this story since it developed because I'm not sure why. I guess I just wasn't aware that this kind of behavior still exists. I had to see it for myself. I've seen every single video that was put out there. Each one I'm more and more disgusted with every single time. And it is my hope that the families of the victims get some form of justice, get some form of peace. I cannot imagine what they would be going through, but I pray, send positive vibes, whatever, for every single one of those families.
I do think that at least Jordan had the right idea, as opposed to how the U.S. has been handling it, by saying if you go after one of ours, we're going after yours. That approach. I really I can't even talk about this. It's so devastating and just...
I'll say this, read, stay informed.
Right.
Everybody out there, all joking aside, all friendly bantering on this aside, this is some scary stuff, folks.
It really is. I mean, everybody should really know what's going on and understand it. And we're not talking about, AIDS in Africa and, poverty. I mean, this is like people are being killed brutally. Innocent people being killed brutally. I mean, there's some people that are going over there that are, humanitarians going over there to help that are being caught. Reporters. I mean, it's just, it's
bad.
Really a horrible situation.
It's a horrible situation.
About it.
My thoughts and prayers out to everybody that is impacted by this, and hopefully this stops.
Really, to some level, who isn't impacted by this?
Right.
And if you're not impacted by this, then you need to research it and understand what's going on.
Right. Now, on to more happier things.
Yeah.
More happier things here. Actually, I don't really know that it's happier as far as Chris Paul is concerned of the NBA. But let's take you to that. The NBA had a rookie referee officiate the game between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Los Angeles Clippers last week. I want to say it was on Wednesday of last week, Wednesday or Thursday. And this rookie official, happens to just be a female. Now, the worldwide leader, the mothership, if you will, ESPN, never likes to sensationalize anything, Dawn. They never like
right.
to make a big
No,
story
not at all.
anything,
Right.
So the miscommunication or what have you between Chris Paul and this female official, and what ends up happening is Chris Paul gets a technical foul for responding back. Do I think as a basketball, someone who's been a basketball fan, someone who watches, do I think that the referee might have jumped the gun a little bit? Maybe. And it's not because of gender. It's probably because of more of inexperience, I would think. But in the same, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to air these comments that Chris Paul had at the end of the game when he was talking about it. And then after this airs, I want to talk to you, Dawn, about what he said, and if you feel that, number one, his fine of $25,000 was justified, because there's a rule, but if you feel it was justified, and number two, if you feel that this story was made to be a much bigger deal than it should have been, solely because of the fact that she's a woman. Take a listen to this.
Like the tech that I got right there was ridiculous. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what she say. That's terrible. There's no way that can be a tech. We try to get the ball out fast every time down the court. And when we did that, she said, and I said, why, and she gave me a tech. That's ridiculous. If that's the case, then this might not be for her.
Okay, so there you heard it, Dawn. Now, Chris Paul, again, we talked about this off air, not a troublemaker type player, but probably in this politically correct world could have positioned his comments a little differently, maybe towards the end. I don't personally see anything wrong with them, but the league does. There is a rule that by publicly criticizing officials, it is a fine of $25,000. So man, woman, or child, if they were wearing the stripes, and he said that about them, he would have been fined $25,000. My question to you, Dawn, is places like TMZ and ESPN, really those two, because NBC, CBS, and Fox Sports are not really making a big deal out of all of this. They just reported the story and then kind of moved on with their lives.
I mean, TMZ shouldn't even be brought up. I mean, that's such a joke of it, but okay.
Right,
whatever.
but I mean, but there's the comparison. TMZ, ESPN made mention of this and are quick to emphasize, even quicker than they are to say, well, Chris Paul really isn't a troublemaker player. They're quick to emphasize that this is not just a rookie referee, but is a female referee. Is this, in your opinion, sensationalized because of that?
I'm going to say yes and no, and here's why. Because we talked about this earlier, and you made mention of the fact that he was fined, and you felt that, or you mentioned, I don't want to, guess what your feelings are, but you mentioned that you thought that it may have been because this ref was a woman that he was being treated, in a different way than he would have been otherwise, and that it was being publicized in this way. Now, my thought is that he should have been fined either way, simply because he broke the rule.
And to your point there, I did research it after we had talked about it, and indeed, it is a rule that, regardless of who it is, if they are openly critical of the officials, the NBA will fine them $25,000.
Right. What I find problematic about this, and I'm not, in no way am I a feminist, I'm not like a big advocate for it, but I do strongly feel that ESPN is sensationalizing the fact that she's a woman and that this is all happening because she's a woman. And I take offense to that personally, because I don't think that the league fined him because she was a woman. But if you listen to ESPN and the way that they talk about it, that's what you would think, because that's what they're making it out to be.
Right.
And I think it's really sad that just because a woman is reffing in a really a male sport,
Right.
that because he got fined for speaking to a woman, that it's being brought out to be an issue of her being
right.
a woman. Does that okay.
No, it makes complete sense. And I'll say this: the WNBA, even though nobody watches it, but the WNBA,
is that still around?
That, believe it or not, is still around.
Oh, okay.
And you would think that Adam Silver, the new commissioner of the NBA, would do away with it because
I don't hate it. Let women, if they're good at playing basketball, let them play basketball. It's just, who really watches it? I can't imagine this making much money.
I don't know. I don't know why
I don't have an issue with them doing it either. Whatever.
But the WNBA, it has male officials, and if there is a call, nobody is saying
right. ESPN isn't like, oh my God, they said that because he's a man.
Right, they're not. And I think, and maybe it's just the father of two girls in me, or maybe it's just the fact that I'm an adult and I think of these things, but I am driving on my way to a certain S-hole earlier this morning, and
does it start with a V and end with an N?
I can't tell you that. Legally, I can't say anything.
Yep.
But I was driving there this morning, and I was listening to ESPN radio. And ESPN radio, you would think, like you said, was Chris Paul was fined because it was a female referee.
Right.
I ironically enough, I switched it over to CBS radio when I got to it said S-hole. Not a single mention at all of that particular incident. What they were talking about was the forthcoming day in sports. The college basketball games, the golf tournament, that type of stuff. So ESPN was still beating on that dead horse known as,
of course,
the female official Chris Paul
ESPN
thing.
Does. They find
and
something
CBS Sports was like, hey, we're moving on with our lives. So, okay, I wanted your opinion on that because I do think that the story is ridiculous.
I do want to say one other thing on that, though.
Okay.
I do think that she was out of line by making a comment about it in the first place. Like the whole thing or whatever she did. Why was that even necessary?
Right.
So I really hope that she's being called out on that, because that was totally unnecessary. So he was speaking to that, which was an unnecessary comment from her. So I do kind of see where he's coming from.
Right.
The problem is that he knows better than to call it out publicly like he did. Right.
And my problem with the whole situation is not so much with her or him. It's really with ESPN. And just making it a much bigger deal than it really need to be. Grand scheme of things, who cares? Who cares who's wearing the stripes? I'll tell you this much, and I tell my girls that they could be whatever they want to be. There's nothing that can tell them. There was this commercial actually on the Superbowl. Now that I think about it, there was a commercial. It was can you show me how to run like a girl, how to throw like a girl?
Yeah, well, I've seen that before.
How to do, and they're all kind of like making like, kind of like ha 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 whatever. And then it was like they asked just a girl who had never heard of it before, was like, how do you throw? And she throws like a normal person.
Right.
And that right there, I saw that and I'm like, damn, that's powerful. That's a good statement, and
right, because girls should be cheerleaders and boys should be football players, right? I mean,
right.
That's what the world would like.
I'll tell you what, if I were a football coach, I don't care who, I would adopt the Bill Parcells rule. I don't care who you are. Man, woman, black, white, yellow, red. If you can help me win, I want you on my team.
Right. I mean, I don't generally think that, I'm not saying women should be in football, just because I think women aren't built to go up against men that play football.
Right.
I just don't think. But if you're talking about at a level of like high school, I've seen that before, and that's fine. I don't know. I
mean, even in coaching too, I would think that if there is a smart female, coordinator out there, or a smart female coach who wants to be a coordinator, offensive coordinator or something, or work their way up like any man would.
Yeah,
if they're smart and they they don't even need to revolutionize the game. They need to be better than freaking Rex Ryan had the past 3 years with the New York Jets.
It'll never
and I'd
happen,
take them.
though, because none of the players, and I shouldn't say none of the players, but I would guarantee that the vast majority of the players would not work under a woman coach or coordinator or whatever. They just wouldn't. And it's sad, but that's just the way society is. So you can't blame them. That's the way society tells them it should be.
I'll tell you this. I'll give you a little bit of dead air, listeners, because I want you to think about this when I ask you this. Who is the most revered college basketball coach? Most wins, most revered. Dead air right now. I want you to think about it, Dawn. I don't know if you know.
I don't.
You don't know. I know. I want you to think about it. Give you 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Do you know the answer? Dawn already says she doesn't. The most revered head coach. Most Division I wins. Pat Summitt. Female. Just saying. Even more revered than Coach K. And Coach K is revered. So. All right, we'll be right back. When we come back, we will have Dawn's news you may or may not be able to use. I'll try and see if there's also some Florida news I could dig up because...
there's always Florida news, John.
Thank you, Florida.
Has there ever been a segment without one piece of Florida news?
I can't say that there has been. All right, we'll be right back.
You're listening to Get Ready America on the Gear Radio Network.
This podcast is sponsored by GearNetwork.com/Amazon. Help keep our podcast free. Shop through Amazon. We thank you. Good night now.
A successful product does not become a successful product on its own. Look at the Gear Radio Network, for example. We're a prime example. We had a lot of help getting here, and we can help you get where you want to go to. Advertising rates are very low to start off here on the Gear Radio Network. Visit us at GearNetwork.com. Click on the contact link to send us an email, and we can work out the details. Again, advertise your product across all of the forums at a low, low rate here on the Gear Radio Network.
From the Gear Network studios, once again, here's John and Dawn.
Welcome back to Get Ready America, everybody. How do you like that song there, Dawn?
Seriously, I mean, I am so sorry that you guys have to listen to that. It's horrible.
I'll tell you the story before we get into Dawn's news you could use. I have this app on my phone, and it's called Instabutton, and it's just got like about 40 or 45 different stupid sound effects and whatever, things that make JC laugh hysterically, that make
JC, I mean, I think that's the wrong show.
That make DC go, really?
All the time.
Well, Epic Sax Guy, S-A-X, you degenerates, Epic Sax Guy.
It's funny that you say that because the first time you said it to me, I actually thought you said Epic Sex Guy, and I was very curious of what video you were about to play to me. But go ahead.
Epic Sex Guy. I gotta try and come up with a voice for Epic Sex Guy. Could be like hey, I am the epic sax guy.
Let's move it along.
Anyways, epic sax guy. I hit the button and I heard the thing and I'm okay. There's got to be something to this. So I do what any normal person would do in this time frame. I go to the YouTubes and I type in epic sax guy. Up comes this video, which I have conveniently posted on the Gear Network page that has this episode here of Get Ready America on there. You can take a look at it and see. It's hysterical. But the original video itself was like 2 minutes, 50 seconds long, was actual, just like the normal song. There's this guy that plays the saxophone for this band, whatever this band is, and he's like, not only is he playing the saxophone, but he's humping the air as he's doing it.
And let's just say, I mean, the whole video is pretty horrible. I mean, right from the start,
it's
and
terrible.
It just gets worse, leading up to him doing that.
But people out there felt compelled to consistently loop this guy, so they extended a 2.5 minute long song out to about 4 or 5 minutes long, with 3 minutes of it all just being this guy in a constant loop, playing the saxophone and humping the air, and
he's not humping the air. He's like kind of humping the saxophone.
Right, yeah, okay. He's humping the saxophone. It's funny to me. I laugh at stupid stuff. So does Robert Ezekiel.
It could be sax or sex, really, if you think about it, because he's almost having sex with the saxophone.
He is. My mind is just blown right now.
You know what's really funny?
What's that?
Is the video that I took of you doing the same dance that guy did.
Mm-hmm. But I had a guitar in my hand.
No, you didn't. Oh, yeah, you did have a guitar in your hand. Yeah. But I couldn't tell that because of the other things that were flapping around.
And on that note, this is not the JC Money Show Uncensored. This is Get Ready America, and we are now headed to Dawn's news you may or may not be able to use. Take it away, Dawn.
Well, you know what's really sad, John, about this news segment?
What's that?
And there's not one, but 2 stories about men having sexual relations with animals.
Oh, God.
Not 1, but 2.
Bestiality. There we go.
Really? Okay. So the first one...
We kick off February with bestiality, ladies and gentlemen.
And now, I will just say, it's not as often that you hear about a woman having sex with animals, but that does happen too. And I think I've talked about that.
You did. You reported that a few weeks ago.
But this week we have 2 men. So the first is the wife calling the police because she discovers that her husband is having sex with their pet chihuahua. Now, chihuahuas are tiny, so I'm trying to figure out how this is happening without killing the dog.
I can speculate. Oh, hello. I have a nice time. Epic sex with the chihuahua.
So, John, can you guess for me what state you think this story might be coming from?
Oh, please tell me it's Florida.
It's Florida. And you know what? I don't want to say the funniest part because it's not really funny. It's really disturbing. So the most disturbing part of this story is that in the article it says that authorities say this is part of a bigger animal abuse problem in South Florida.
Oh, jeez. Thank you, Florida.
Apparently they have lots of calls about
Florida,
that.
I will tell you what, if we ever make our way down there, I am going to be happy and thrilled to podcast live from Florida.
So let's just make, what would be the, I guess, most logical transition here into the man who had sex with a dolphin. Well,
wait, come on.
Okay, so here...
A Miami dolphin?
Well, you'll have to wait and see.
Uh-oh. Get ready, America.
So here's the headline. I had sex with Dolly the dolphin in year-long affair after she seduced me at a theme park.
Okay.
So, John, guess what state this story comes from?
Is this Florida too?
Of course.
Oh God, the Home Office.
It just part of a bigger problem in Florida.
Holy crap.
So, It's apparently part of a documentary called Dolphin Lover. If you have the time and want to watch this documentary, where this gentleman named Malcolm Brenner says he fell in love with Dolly after the aquatic animal made advances towards him.
You know how they bat your eyes at them?
I started rubbing her along her back, working my way to her flukes, her tail. And as I was rubbing her and moving my hand toward her tail,
I am playing sexy music right now.
Dolly was slowly rolling around her long axis.
Jesus Christ.
Things then get a bit graphic. An animation of what it's like to have sex with a dolphin is played to viewers.
Seriously?
In case they are finding it too hard to imagine.
I'm finding it very hard to imagine. I'm going to lean over here and take a look.
Well, no, it doesn't show it here.
Oh, no?
I'm sorry. You'll have to find the documentary if you want to see that.
Son of a bitch. All right.
And I will not post a link to that.
Okay.
If you sickos want to see it, you will have to do the work and find that on your own.
I can't even imagine how the hell it's even possible.
He was a photographer and had access to the pool at the theme park and, of course, Sarasota, Florida, where he lived.
Oh, God.
But it's not his fault. I mean, to just be fair to him, the dolphin seduced him. What was he to do? The dolphin kept rubbing up against him. As it says, she announced her intentions to me by positioning herself, so I was rubbing against her. At first, I discouraged her. I wasn't interested. After some time, I thought, if this was a woman...
Is this legitimate text?
Yeah, I'm making this up. Can you not interrupt me in the middle of my...
I'm sorry, I'm baffled by this.
After some time, I thought... If it was a woman, would I come up with these rationalizations and excuses? It was when the park was closing that we successfully eluded the male dolphin so we could spend some time together. And it goes on, but I think I will stop there because really...
I wonder if this is the same guy that listed himself as listed his occupation as a drug dealer in his arrest report.
The thing is, to his defense, Florida did not ban bestiality until 2011, so he was not breaking any laws, John.
Breaking the law.
It was perfectly acceptable for him to have a relationship with the dolphin, and he actually became quite depressed when he couldn't be with her anymore. He truly loved her, and he says that there is no love like that which you would have with a dolphin.
Side note, he's a Bills fan, so... 2 times a year, they're not happy together. All right, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So we'll move away from that because, for some weird reason, there's only 2 bestiality stories.
Oh, jeez.
So this one I kind of find funny because I worked at the starting with V, ending with N place for a long time, and I talked to a lot of customers that I really would have liked to do this to.
Okay.
So here's the story.
Okay.
Richard and Lisa Brown were stunned by a letter sent after they canceled part of their cable bill.
Okay.
So apparently they called up, told them they wanted to cancel their part of their service to save money. So they received their bill, and it's addressed to Asshole Brown. So yes, they received the bill, and they said that they had called several times trying to get this corrected, but they still continue to receive a bill addressed Asshole Brown.
I wonder what Asshole Brown's Social Security is.
And I cannot tell you how many times I wanted to change customers' names to Asshole, whatever your last name was, because you are an asshole when you call up and yell at customer service reps who make $12 an hour to listen to your shit.
Oh, wow.
Okay, anyway.
She's not bitter, ladies and gentlemen.
That one's a little close to home. I hate you f***ing people. Okay.
What pisses DC off?
And then, why not have a sex toy story? Because, the Vajenko story
The
is so
overwhelmingly popular.
That even Better Live Than Dead had to bite off my story. They had to steal my thunder so so that they could capitalize it on their show because they knew what a hit it brought. But that's okay. I'm okay with sharing with you guys. If you want to take my story so you can have success on your show, go ahead, guys.
Hey, I gotta tell you this.
Just give me a hand rest. It's only fair, Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan, you douche.
I want the hand rest.
I gotta say this though. I think that you have brought an incredible awareness to the vajankle.
Well, I'm so glad.
Because let me tell you a little story. Ryan's mother.
I don't know if I want to hear this story.
No. Listen. No, this is
Ryan's mother and the vajankle should never be in the same conversation.
Would you just listen? Stop.
Fine, if I have to.
Okay, so apparently, she posts on I don't know, somehow this gets to Lewis. She listened to the show and she didn't realize what the vajankle was. So she Googled it. And was horrified with what she saw.
She was.
And she saw, I guess, apparently she saw the, do you remember the dolled up one with the
nail polish?
With the nail polish and the shoe? How long ago did you report this? It was
just a few weeks ago.
A few weeks ago. It's still going on.
I think it was our last show, wasn't it?
No.
Maybe then it was the show before.
Yeah, it was the alcohol tasting one. I know that was still hands down the funniest moment in Get Ready America history.
Well, okay. So you've kind of brought me to another point I want to get into, but first I have to tell my story. So stop interrupting me.
Right,
we'll get to the vajankle soon enough.
Yes, please.
Okay. So, in another sex toy story, there's this sex toy that you can now buy, and I guess it's essentially like a vibrator. I'm sorry, I'm not really in tune to all the different sex toys out there. I guess I have to start checking them out more.
If you put the two words sex and toy in a paragraph about the episode, you're guaranteed 100 hits.
Can you stop interrupting me?
Go on.
Jesus. Christ, amen. So this company called Cyber Dildonics. What is so funny about Cyber Dildonics? All I said is Cyber Dildonics. You don't even know the story yet.
Oh, okay. It's fine. Dildonics.
It allows people to share sensations over the internet, which is perfect for those that have long-distance love, right? Because, I mean, you want to help your partner out, right? So what you can do is you can buy this dildo, and the person on the other end of the computer controls it. So they control your... Can I say orgasm?
You can say orgasm.
Good, because I just said. They control your orgasm. The problem with this is apparently there's a big cyber risk because there's been cyber attacks where strangers are taking control of the devices. And I mean, hey, I say if you get an orgasm, who cares who controls it, right?
Right.
I don't know. So, I mean, to all of you very, very lonely people out there.
Oh, my God.
Go to this site called Cyber Dildonics, buy them, and hope to God it takes a cyber attack on you and helps control your organs. We all know there's people out there who want nothing to do with you.
I wonder if North Korea would be all trying that. Thinking that, those Americans think they're funny. They're not going to think so funny when I hack into their goddamn dildo.
Well, North Koreans, I'm sure, have really small
penises.
So, I'm sure that they would love to get somebody off that way because they sure can't any other way.
Boom.
Okay, so.
Bunch of dolphin f***ers.
Moving right along to what John talked about, which was the vajankle.
Okay.
I went on the vajankle site recently.
Okay.
And there's some comments on the vajankle site that I found, I don't know if I want to say funny or disturbing.
Oh, God, I am fully in tune right now. I am, my eyes are on you as you're telling me this story.
Because the site that makes the vajankle, the company that makes it, is called Synthetics. You should check it out because they actually make, like, these dolls, and they're not blow-up dolls. They're, like,
ankles?
Synthetic dolls.
Okay.
But one of them looks like a goat woman or something. It's really strange. But that's not part of my story. So if that's your thing, go check it out.
A goat
it's
woman,
expensive, though. I don't know. Like, the Vajankle is like $175.
Better be a goddamn good freaking...
You could sever a foot and have sex with it for less than that.
I was going to say, it better be a goddamn good experience for that money.
Okay, so the first guy, John... Better not be, because that's nasty. You're never doing that with my foot.
I already have.
Ew. No, you better edit that out. That's gross. Anyways, says, I want one with a pink labia. Is that possible? To which Synthetic says, yes, you can request whatever color you want. Which then made me think about the woman, I don't want to even say woman, the person on the Stonewood Stories site.
Oh, God.
Who talked about bleaching her asshole.
Oh,
because
God.
Her boyfriend apparently had an issue because she was Puerto Rican and had a brown butthole, and having a white one was better. So I guess he likes white women. But moving right along, they want to know, Dan.
No, because it's my skin colors.
Dan says, is it possible to have the vaginal insert on the sole of the foot? Also, can it be ordered in different skin tones? To have the entry moved would have to do an entirely new sculpt and mold. So Dan says, how would I go about ordering this?
These are legitimate comments.
Legit.
Oh, God.
Now, there's a lot more, and you should go look at them because they're pretty funny. But then there's one that I'm not quite sure I understand, and I'm really hoping that Kurt was joking. Are the toes strong enough to hold bees?
Bees?
To which Synthetic says, bees? The flying insects? Well, the feet are made out of silicone, which is strong enough to have sex with. I don't really quite understand that one. Does he like when the bees sting him? So we'll move right along.
Wait, he's looking. He was the insect bees. He wants the toes to hold bees.
Well, John, so it appears.
Kurt is his name?
Kurt.
They have places for people like you.
What places?
Well, in General Hospital world, it's called Shady Brook.
Anyways, so then Claire says...
Claire?
I want to get one for my husband's 40th birthday, but how do you clean them out?
Take that Puerto Rican girl's bleach after she's done with her asshole.
So it says, well, Claire, simply flush it out with hot water and dish soap. You can use a douche ball or spray it on the faucet like a kitchen faucet and drip dry.
Drip dry.
Michelle wants to know, would you consider putting a butthole in the other foot that doesn't have a vagina? Why was the ankle left bare? Well, Synthetic says because they are always aiming to please their customers, we would consider doing an anal type of entry on male feet. The existing vajankle was done as a custom order to the buyer's specifications.
Oh my God! I could listen to these comments all day.
I seriously could go on and on.
Why don't you go?
Like somebody wants to know if it's safe for insertion into body cavities. Like, where are you going to shove this foot? Really, where are you going to shove this foot? But they say that the silicone is safe to insert. The nails are rigid acrylic, so they may not be ideal for penetration. But if that's your thing, it's safe. The weirdest, I find it funny to say the weirdest one to me, because really what one of these comments is not weird.
I'm still stuck on the B one. I can't see too many of them. See,
you're stuck on the B one, but I'm really stuck on them wanting to know if they can insert it into their body cavity. Like, you really want to shove a foot up your ass? Seriously? And this is just disturbing. Like, very, very disturbing. And I have to say that they actually answered it in a way that I agree with on the Synthetics. Wilf says, hi, does the foot come in smaller, like children's sizes?
Oh, hell no.
Seriously, Wilf? Nasty. And Synthetic says no, and we do not make a habit of reporting requests for anything childlike or even possibly related to pedophilia to the FBI. We know of at least one arrest from a report we made. So, Wilf, you're sick. You're very sick, and I hope that you got caught for that. And I will end it on a funnier note by saying that...
Hey, Will.
These bitches won't never learn.
Rich wants to know, have you considered a vajarn pit at all?
Oh my God, a vajarn pit!
Because who doesn't want to have sex with somebody's armpit? Is it not like the hottest part of somebody's body? The vajarn pit? No, this is not something we will consider doing.
I like my women.
So, Vajankle, I'm going to have to say goodbye to you for now, but I'm sure that these comments will continue. And I have to wonder, because some of these comments came in after our show, were these some of our viewers? Nasty. If one of our viewers is Wilf, listen to another show.
Yes. We like our listeners. We don't like people like you. Go to another network or not another network at all.
Now, I do have some others, so I don't know. I mean, I know generally I make my news segments pretty quick, but there's just we skipped a week. So there's so many news stories that I have to get them in. Yeah, do we need to take a break?
Yeah, let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back for the expanded version of Dawn's news you may or may not be able to use. Oh, God, bees in the freaking toes. This is Get Ready America on the Gear Radio Network.
GearNetwork.com.
All right, and we are back. Expanded news you may or may not be able to use. Dawn, please continue.
Hi, John.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right, I am very well. Good.
You ready for the news?
I help you?
This one, I think you will like.
Okay.
I don't know why. I do know why I think you would like this, because you are nasty, John.
I'm nasty, huh?
And you make my kids make poop jokes.
I don't make them.
You do. Mm-mm. You are.
I may encourage them, but
fully responsible.
No.
The title of this news story is "Pooh Done It."
I'm sorry. Of what? It was what?
Pooh Done It.
Pooh Done It.
Pooh Done It.
Okay.
Teachers cause a stink after carrying out poo inspections on 11-year-old students.
Wait, what?
Hi.
Did you say poo?
Poo. Like poop.
So what are they doing? Are they telling the kids not to flush the toilet and they're going and looking at their shit?
Actually, John, that's a great question. But no, that's not what's happening. What's happening is after a mystery pooer kept crapping on the gym floor, staff ordered youngsters to drop their pants so that they could find the culprit.
Is that even legal?
Is that a real question?
I mean, come on.
How is that legal? Hey, drop your pants. Let me look at your ass to see if there's crap in it.
Well, you saw that South Park episode.
That doesn't make it. No, I don't know that I have.
I just need to see inside your asshole.
The only South Park episode that I clearly remember is the Martha Stewart one, which I reference often.
The Queef Sisters?
Correct.
Yes.
Anyways, if you haven't seen that episode, check it out, because it's legit funny. But anyways, staff at the school have caused quite a stink. I love how they keep putting,
Yeah.
with their method of getting to the bottom of the phantom pooer.
Okay, so far we've had poo, we've had stink, and we've had bottom, all in the same reference. That's amazing.
Correct.
Okay.
Young children are rounded up, taken into a room, and then ordered to pull down their pants so officials could check for evidence of who was the culprit. Now, my question is, if somebody was pooping on the floor, I would assume that, 1, it was a clean poop, or 2, they went and wiped their butt afterwards. Would they really just poop it up and still have, poop on the floor and then still have crap in their butt for them to find? What are they actually looking for?
Okay, that's a bit disturbing. I could make some humor out of it, but realistically, those are kids.
They're kids. That's the thing. These are young kids. And, one of the children says, I feel like they violated my privacy, which they completely did.
They absolutely did. They
if somebody did that to my kid, I would go to jail. And I'm not even kidding. Like, you're all like, oh, yeah, sure. I would go to jail. I would be locked up because I would go down there and I would seriously start punching people in the face.
Oh, yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Absolutely.
How disgusting is that? But the school justifies it by saying, well, they did split the boys and the girls up when they did this. So somehow that makes it
doesn't
okay.
matter. It doesn't matter.
Right. Now, perhaps putting a camera in the gym, I could have given you that. Because it's not in the bathroom, it's in the gym. So if somebody wants to go in the gym and poop on the floor, you may get caught on the camera.
No, the whole pooping on the floor in the gym thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the funny part of it. But the not so funny part is what happens to the kids. Yes.
Right. I mean, if we weren't talking about kids, this would be a little funnier. And it's still funny, don't get me wrong. But these are little kids.
I mean, mind the pun, but kids do you know.
Not on the gym floor typically, though, John. I'm pretty sure that
no,
those
but
kids were on the floor to be
no,
funny.
but there was this kid who once a year in high school, once a year was good for a sizable stool in the urinal.
Did you was this you, John?
Next story, please.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not finished with this story because I have a question about it, John.
Okay.
This didn't happen in Florida. Can you guess where it did happen?
Oh, okay. So not Florida. That's already ruled out. Ohio.
Texas.
Tejas. All right.
Okay. I'm going to do one more.
Goddamn perverts in Texas.
I'm going to do one more funny story, and then we're going to get into a different type of topic.
Okay.
Not so funny.
Okay.
Obese people to be treated at zoo because hospital beds are too small.
Oh, God.
Yeah. And it says, I mean, how horrible is this that it actually says, never mind the elephant enclosure or gorilla kingdom, one zoo could soon have a section for fat people. An animal park in Czech, the capital of Prague, is set to build a special health center for the country's 80,000 super obese people.
This is in Czech?
Yes, that's what I said.
Yes,
John.
okay. No, I'm just making sure.
So
they're still Czechoslovakia to me.
Can you imagine? Oh, I'm sorry, you're so fat. We're gonna have to take you to the zoo to take care of you.
Now I wonder if the Czech people's ambulances might be too small and they have to bring them there in a forklift.
That's mean.
Yes, I know. Not only am I going to hell, but I'm driving the bus there.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
So now we're gonna get into a little bit more serious of a story.
Mm-hmm.
One that I'm curious of your opinion on because John always listens to ESPN radio.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I get in the car after John's in it, it's ESPN radio. So sometimes I listen to it because I'm curious if they're still licking Tom Brady's balls.
Deflated?
Or if they're talking his deflated balls or if they're talking about something different. And they were talking about Lance Armstrong. Have you heard the latest Lance Armstrong story?
No.
He was involved in a hit and run where he hit two parked cars after leaving a party. And then he fled the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he let his girlfriend take the rap for him. So, of course...
I'm assuming he did not do this on a bike.
It was not a bike.
Okay.
Now, the big controversy, I guess, is the fact that he has made other people take the rap for everything he's done. So they're saying this is just yet another example of Lance Armstrong not taking responsibility for his
it's Lance
actions.
Armstrong being Lance Armstrong.
Right. Now, they talked about, and I'm not sure that I totally agree with this, but they talked about how a lot of times athletes are forgiven for their actions because they take responsibility. But that Lance Armstrong is not in that category because he's actually pushed responsibility off to other people, which is why it's so difficult to forgive him. And I was just curious if you agreed with that because personally, I don't forgive a lot of the athletes, whether they take responsibility or not. So,
I think there's a lot of factors that go into that with sports athletes, because a good chunk of them, obviously, they're millionaires. They could be real pompous assholes. Like, take Alex Rodriguez, for example. Alex Rodriguez is stupid rich.
Mm-hmm. Stupid, for sure.
Stupid rich, stupid person, pompous asshole. He could win the Yankees. He could win 3 or 4 more championships with the Yankees. He won't, but he could, and he'd still be a pompous asshole that cheated. No one would forgive him for that. Mm-hmm. Now, take a guy like Andy Pettitte, who also was admitted to cheating as well with performance-enhancing drugs. Outright came out, took responsibility for it, said, I accept whatever comes from it. You know, I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to do it. It was part of the culture then. It's no excuse, but whatever. He owned it. Mm-hmm. And then he played, went about his business, kept doing his charitable thing, and what happened?
That's true. I mean, that is true. And you have to think about it in the aspect that when they were all doing it, a lot of people were doing it.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Lance Armstrong. And he even said, you know, everybody was doing it. So for me to be competitive and to win the races, I had to be doing it too. The problem is he didn't just come out and say that, right? He came out and threw everybody else under the bus.
Absolutely denied it. He stuck to his lie. He stuck to it, kept at it. Everybody else was crazy. This person's lying about me with this, and this person's only saying this because, you know, of this or whatever, and hey, I'm a cancer survivor, remember that, and blah, 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 and then finally, oh yeah, I did it. You know what I mean? It's the same thing as, again, hate to go back to Alex Rodriguez, but the same thing with Alex Rodriguez. He came out when the reports came out, and the Sports Illustrated writer, who, again, that was a case where it was a female writer, and he came out and completely, she doesn't know what she's talking about, and blah, 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 and I don't know what she has against me, but blah, 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 this, that, and this, that, and it became a big thing, and he denied it only for a year later to be, yeah, I did it. Mm-hmm. And then 2 years after, but I'm not doing it anymore. I haven't done it in a while, and, you know, there's going to be at least about 10 more years of clean baseball for me, so judge me after my career is done. And then 2 years later, yeah, I'm still doing it, you know. It depends on the person and how they act. You can go the way of Andy Pettitte and just be like, yeah, I did it. I'm sorry. You know, I own it. I take responsibility for it, and be revered by the time Pettitte's not going to make it to the Hall of Fame. He's not going to make it to the Hall of Fame, but he's going to be remembered as an all-time Yankee.
You really
great.
don't think Pettitte will ever make it to the Hall of Fame?
No. As long as...
I actually think that's sad, because I legitimately think that he was a classy player, mm-hmm. and that he took full responsibility for things he did. Mm-hmm. And I think that he was a contributor to the Yankees, and I honestly think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. So it's sad to me to think that he will never make it there.
He's going to get a plaque in Monument Park. He's going to get his number 46 retired eventually. You know, no one's ever going to wear it again. But as far as the Cooperstown, the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, and the Baseball Writers Association that vote these players in, unless the baseball, unless the voting into the Hall of Fame changes, if it's under the current format that it is, Andy Pettitte will not sniff the Hall of Fame simply because of his performance-enhancing drugs and what that did to him. I mean, mm-hmm. It's kept out how many people? Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa, Rafael Palmeiro, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens. Anybody linked to PEDs.
Some of the people you talk about are, to me, not at the same... Not at this... And when I say not at the same level, because I'm going to say not at the same level as Pettitte, I don't mean that they haven't done or had as much success as Pettitte has, but I mean they have not held the same level of class that Pettit did, in my opinion. So not all of the people, but some of the people you mentioned did not take the same route that Pettit did.
That's true. I mean, Sammy Sosa, Sammy Sosa forgot how to speak English, and Rafael Palmeiro with his famous finger wag at court, and then he was busted, and then that was that. And Barry Bonds being Barry Bonds, and then Roger Clemens going from the All-American boy, Roger Clemens, everybody loved him, Roger Clemens for Susan Waldman, and then to go to him creating one of the most famous words ever in misremembering when he was talking about Andy Pettit, and now he's just kind of like, hey, y'all, Roger Clemens.
Right,
and
exactly.
It's like, okay, great, good for you.
I do have other news stories, but the segment's gone really, really long, so I'm just going to cut it out here, and, the rest of them, maybe we'll talk about next week.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I just said I was done with my news segment.
I thought you meant you were going to cut it out after the
I'm going to cut it out now. I'm done.
Oh, all right, cool.
Right,
hard
done.
Stop. Very good. All right, cue the music.
Hard stop.
All right, a successful week as always. Thank you, Dawn. I appreciate the expanded edition of the news and the entertainment that came with it. That is a very good segments today. We look forward to next week. And ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the 15th episode. 15th episode of Get Ready America. Here's to 15 more. This is a copyrighted podcast of the Gear Radio Networks, and any rebroadcast or reproduction without the express written permission of the Gear Radio Networks is strictly prohibited. The executive producer is Mrs. Dawn Cimino. Tune in to all the other fine programming we have here, Better Live Than Dead. Get Ready America. We'll be back again next week doing the same old.
Maybe. I mean, we thought we'd be back again last week, right?
We thought we would.
You never know with us.
You never know.
We like to keep you on your toes. You don't know what you're gonna get.
You never know. You might get two a week. You might get two a month.
You might get two.
Maybe.
We might have a special guest. We might not. Tune in and see.
Expect the unexpected,
and while you're waiting, you should definitely go to gearnetwork.com and check out the Amazon link.
Yes, you should. And sign up for Prime if you have not already, and you're eligible for a free trial. Do it through us, please.
Go download Ryan's selection for the song, right? For the song of the month.
Right, yes. Which it's Uptown Funk. That's what it is. I haven't recorded the commercial yet. Well, you haven't recorded the commercial yet.
By the time this airs, it will probably have the commercial on it.
It might.
You're gonna have
as of press time. This is podcast world. As of press time, the commercial has not been recorded yet, but you will probably be listening now. At this point, you will have heard the commercial, and you'll be like, "JC, what are you talking about? You son of a bitch!" But all right. Anyways, Dawn, good day to you.
Good night.
And
it's
good
not day. It's night.
Whatever. So, for Dawn, this is John saying so long, everybody.
Good night now.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network.